to Muriwai Golf Club. And I'd just like to say thank you all for coming tonight. It's actually awesome. The question and answer system, I'm not sure how that's going to work. I've done no answers for you. So it's probably best for me to hand over to Mr. De Silva from the council. And they can carry on. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, my name is Scott De Silva. I'm the manager of regional parks. Also been working in the emergency management team at council over the last 2 weeks actually. So we've had a massive amount of work that's happened as a result of this event. Before we start, I'd like to open the meeting with a karakia, and we'll be closing with a karakia again. So I'd like to invite a colleague of mine, Jade, up to do the karakia.
My brother, my name, everybody, we're great at good days. To me, first and foremost, I just wanted to acknowledge and pay tribute to everybody who's been free. They've invited us to the afternoon to we might Amy, Amy Aloha Kiape Mikama Whānau, He Whānau Panu. Just also acknowledging Amy and her family and the meeting family here today as well, as well as the rest of the community. Secondly, Amy Kānani, to bring obviously another colleague who is, as we know, that is currently in laying as well at the moment. So my thank you also extend to him and his family. So the purpose of this having this the karakia, or this thing for today, is to ensure that we are I guess our thoughts and feelings are acknowledged to everyone that not only here today but also that has gone before us, even in this immediate time. So yeah, me no papai, I may have to be covered about me no papai. Mai te tupua, mai te taputo, mai te kāhui o ngāri, mai te kāhui o ngā whanipa. Tāwhiki ki ngā atua, ko rangiringi ki rola, ko papatūru ki raro, paupare atu ngā kino o te wā, paupare atu ngā puke o te wā, kia papa wā te atu o kāne whakatūru. Tēnei te pautuku anu, tēnei te pautuku anu, tāwhia ki o hei kua ki te harawai ki te ao maharas, tūturu papa mōwai ki a tūna, tēsi, onge, uye.
Georgia. Look, I just would like to start by saying that this event has been hugely challenging for everyone, and particularly like for this band with no Muriwai. This is not the event that came through a couple of days ago. It's not restricted to here, as you know, along the West Coast, Piha, Bethels, and Parikari at the moment. It's also heavily impacted. So it's a widespread event which no one ever saw it coming, or to the degree that they have seen it coming. And the devastation is unbelievable. Realistically, I know it's hugely difficult for everyone here and Windsor community. And I guess my council whānau and members who are working with us as well, and just looking up at the pics. What I'm hoping to do today is to provide you with some information which you can take away. This won't be the last of these sessions, so we're looking at possibly doing some more in the next couple of weeks as things evolve, and we can keep you updated with it. The reason for the video, as is mentioned, is we can post this, it's only me speaking and my colleagues, and we can post it out to people so they can actually get this information as well. And we want to try to keep this channel open so you can understand how things evolve, or where things evolve, and where we don't. I've got a couple of key colleagues here, and I'd like to introduce Ross Richards first. Ross is the head of engineering and resilience in council. He's also called a specialist in geology, geotech stuff. He knows his business really well, and I'd like to invite Ross up first. That'll be followed by Ian McCormick, who's actually general manager of building compliance team. We don't want to stand up here and talk to everyone tonight, so we're going to give you a really good overview of what's actually going on. Following these two gentlemen, I'll provide you an overview of what the park situation is like and how we manage people coming into it, and what the welfare needs are and how we might address those. From there, we're hoping you just come up and speak to us. We'll spread ourselves around, come up and ask questions, anything specific, let's do that. And we'll run another section afterwards and further to that. Sorry, one more note. Apologies, my mouth is really dry when I do this. Keep on the keyboards. We have a gentleman called Eden who has a vehicle out the front there, a black vehicle with power packs for charging phones or that sort of thing. So if you need any of that charged, take the opportunity, he's here to provide that service. So is he here? He's around somebody. I think it's just out here. I'm going to pass over Ross and let's start with Ross.
Kia ora, thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Ross Roberts. I'm a geotechnical engineer, and I've been out here since Tuesday morning. What I'll do is I'll give you a brief introduction to the technical causes of the landslide. I'll try and keep it fairly brief, and then afterwards I'll go and sit myself on the table over there. So if anyone's got any more detailed questions, just come along, have a chat, talk to me, and we'll see what we can work out. It's a bit of an evolving picture. We're still collecting a lot of information. We've had a whole load of people doing rapid building assessments, but they've all had geotechnical engineers with them, and they've been collecting information as they've been going. Sorry about that. I'll try that again. So I'll start from the start. I'm going to go briefly through the causes of landslides that we've seen here, the information that we've got, which we're still collecting, so it's all preliminary at the moment. I'll keep it fairly concise, and I'll go and sit at the table over there later on. If anyone's got any more detailed questions, just come and have a chat with me. We've had geotechnical engineers out with all the rapid building assessment teams going around looking at the landslides as well as looking at the houses to make sure that they understand what's going on. The geology here is a little bit complicated. So we've got the cliffs behind Muriwai, and they're made of two different types of rock. The bottom half of it is the Waitakere volcanics. They're quite hard, and they're less permeable than the rocks above it. They have less water traveling through them. Above that, we've got much younger sandstones. They're Pleistocene in age, which is quite recent in geological terms, and they're much more permeable, so you get a lot more water traveling through them. So the water, when it rained on Monday, Tuesday, all the water came through the sands at the top, and it formed a pool underground on the boundary between the sands and the Waitakere rocks beneath it, and came out as springs in the face. And you may have seen springs in the face before. It's a natural occurrence that will happen in any sort of geological situation like this, but because of the amount of water, that will have been much, much more severe than usual. And when water gets into rock or to soil, it increases the pressure between the particles, and that increased pressure reduces the strength of the soil until the point where it fails. And so all along the cliff face, we can see failures at roughly the same height where that boundary is between the two different rock types, where the water came out, saturated those soils and reduced their strength and made them slide off down the slope. And because of the huge amount of water in it, some of those materials then liquefied as they were coming down, which is why they flowed quite a long way across the road in some places. So they've turned into a river of mud. Once they slow down enough, then they solidify again. And so they become more like a solid. And over time, that will continue. At the moment, there's not much movement going on those slopes. There are loose boulders that we think are going to carry on coming down, some at the top which could roll down the slope. And if there's more rain, then there could be other areas of landsliding. It's unlikely that it would be anything like as extensive as we've seen so far. And the presence of the existing landslides is not really an indicator of where things would happen in future. So we're going to be looking very, very closely at those slopes to assess the risk across the whole area and make sure that we've got a really good understanding of it to help inform the decisions that we've got to make. So I'm going to leave it there. And what I'll do is I'll hand over to Ian McCormick, who's going to talk more about the building assessment process. And as I said earlier, I will be in the corner over there to answer any more detailed questions.
Your guys, my name is Muriwai Golf Links. I lead the rapid building system camps through been working in this area for the last 2 days. The first day we came in with the support of the urban search and rescue teams and our geotechnical experts. We got an understanding of, I guess, what the areas where it was safe to deploy into. And then in the last 2 days, we've been doing the rapid building assessments on your buildings. So currently we've assessed 164 buildings. 39 of them so far have been classified as red, 29 as yellow, and 96 as white. And very shortly I'll explain what each of those different placards mean. One of the things I just want to say as well is that we are currently looking at new buildings, but also going back with some of the buildings we assessed earlier with some of the additional geotechnical advice we received recently. And that will learn that there will be a number of buildings that currently have had white placards attached, which will turn to red. Typically, those will be buildings that are beside buildings that are already assessed as being red. Essentially, we basically looked at some of the existing slips and decided that their impact area is slightly wider than what we originally thought. So we're currently going through that process. We're currently working our way through Motuara Road, and we will continue to do that through tomorrow. Today we will start pushing through the main present. Obviously, some buildings are significantly more impacted than others, and the main present is one of the areas we know has a large number of buildings that have been impacted. So essentially, what is the rapid building assessment? So what that is it's a early indication of the safety and the usability of the building that we're looking at. So it enables us to be able to provide you information about how safe your building is to return, and also what potential restrictions on the use of that building may be. So, for example, I'll start with explaining what a red placard is. So a red placard is a sign to a building where we have serious concerns for the safety of anybody who enters that building. So it's prohibited for you as the owner to go back into that building where there's a red placard on. The reason for that is we're really concerned for your safety. If you want to go back to a building with a red placard, we'd want to understand when you want to go back. And we'd want to then look at the details of your particular building and the situation it's in, and then work out what extra support you would need to go there. So it may mean that one of my team would accompany you to the building and actually just keep an eye, make sure it's safe while you're going in and exiting it. Or if you arrange to go with an assurance assessor who's a trained veteran builder side there, or the geotechnical engineer or structure engineer, that would probably be satisfied with that. Again, these are people who are trained at going into those types of situations. Now let's talk about yellow placard. So the yellow placard is one that has restrictions on the use of the building. So again, it's a building that's had significant damage that's been noted by us when we've done our assessment. And as a result, we're actually indicating it's actually part of the building that people should not use. So for example, we might say, okay to use the front part of the building, but don't use the rear access to the building in the rear bedroom. That's not the impact I've received. There's also a category of yellow placard where we might decide that the building is safe for you to go into temporarily, but it is not safe for you to sleep in for residential purposes. And again, on those placards, we will detail what those restrictions are cleared. Finally, a white placard. A white placard is one where we've noticed some small amount of damage, but we do not believe it has any implications for your ability to be able to use that building safely. Again, this whole process is one that provides an early indication of the usability and safety of that building. As an owner or occupant, when you go to that building, you should be keeping an eye out for anything you think actually affects the safety of that building. And if you believe it's unsafe or you're concerned about anything, engage as an expert or lead with legal property and advise us. A rapid assessment is done in approximately probably half an hour. and for a large extent it's done by looking at the buildings, the external of the building. Just identify what are some of the things and features about building that might have been damaged or cause risk. It does not involve a section on the inside of the building. So, when you go on the inside of your building and you notice there is some significant damage, within the situation on the outside there is no sign of damage at all, it's a good idea to leave that building and then alert us. And I'll give you some contact details shortly. Like Ross, I'm going to be here all day, and I will be at this corner. So if you've got any questions after I've finished and want to understand about learning more about the black coding system, want to talk a little bit about what are some of the remediation for your building, what happens next, over about what I'm about to tell you, then which very pleased to see you. I've also got one of my staff here who's got access to a database, so we'll be able to tell you what your make-out is for your particular address that we've already assessed. We've said we've assessed over 160 to date, and we'll be able to provide you that information. The big question for many of you will be, if you are motor hour or run it for the main prison, where can you return to your house? You may say, well, look, it looks like I've had there's been a rapid building assessment of my house, and I've got a wire to another, and I should be able to come through the cordon straight away. So the current situation is we are still excluding people from certain areas within those cordon areas. And the reason why we're doing that is they're still conducting some geotechnical assessment just to make sure that on a micro level, it is safe for you to come through. So very shortly we're in a position where we'll be able to open up those cordons. And again, your safety will be to a certain extent managed by the makers, that education safety will be building, and then also your common sense. You see something that you might be safe or concerns you, leave and alert us, and we'll make some inquiries. We've got a number of contact details on our website. So if you want us to come back and reassess the building, or you have any queries about the placarding system, or if you're concerned with what the process is for remediating a rebuilding, you can contact us on 0800 22 2200. We've also got an email address at rba@comms@aucklandcouncil.gov.nz. If you go into the Auckland Council website and look at Auckland Emergency Management, you will see those contact details there, along with a lot of advice and guidance that we've built on from the most similar experiences over the years. We are here to support you, to enable you to get back into a house, to be able to do the remedial work you need to do with your house, make the decisions you need to make. We're there to help you do that. So some of my team will be based at the radio station for the next few days. We'll be supporting people that may wish to look at go into a property that's threatened guarded. Once we actually move those call logs, take those calls down, which hopefully won't be too far away. I think that's probably all I probably need to cover. But again, I'll make call down for one of our team and begin to answer any of the questions.
And we will try to call this come down and if we in the haste this thing, please.
It'll be as soon as we rock up and up to say to you to that area. We're very, very conscious that, you've been through absolutely horrendous event. One, but people who have not gone through something like this would have no idea what it's like. I hadn't. I mean, I'd spent quite a few years in emergency services myself, so I've got a certain understanding from actually engaging with people like you over many, many years. But I've never been in that situation myself. We are really focused on trying to enable you to get back into your house safely as soon as possible. We're doing absolutely everything we can to enable that. As soon as we know, we will let you know. Now, we have created a database which captures pretty well almost everybody, every address that we've got in this area. And we've been adding to that over the course of the last couple of days. We will be ringing you up on those address of those mobile phones to advise you if there's any significant change. So I hope that answers your question. Yes.
Where is the education going? We tell the deck. So we might you at go communication focus and we understand.
So my team will be based out at the Ranger Station, but we're actually here. We'll also be sending the information through to you if there's any changes on group text details based on the mobile numbers we've currently got. And there's also going to be ability to contact us on that eye through that or on that email address that we will do contact you doing today. We're also looking at some other options. I was talking to them as early as today about the, for example, information boards and things that could be put up in obvious places around where community updating you on what's going on. And I guess that would be a useful place to look for other community-related information as well.
Kia ora koutou, Brad Mosby, District Commander for Fire and Emergency New Zealand. I just want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the Muriwai Volunteer Fire Brigade and what they're going through at the moment as well. I've been here since Monday evening, ahead of the operations that went on, and I can guarantee you they worked incredibly hard on the night, looking for their fellow colleagues. They were in there right to the end, and they did a fabulous job. They're grieving, and I know this community will get behind them. That's what they need right now. And just making sure they know that Fire and Emergency New Zealand have got their back as well. So you'll see a few fire engines around the community at the moment. What we're doing is giving the fire brigade a break. So the usual fire truck that is in Muriwai and the volunteer fire brigade, we've stood them down just so they can go through this process and support both Dave and Craig's whānau. So you'll see a few different fire trucks around. There's a lot of offers from our career firefighters and our volunteers across Tamaki Makaurau. So we're having trucks coming in from Glen Eden all the way to Silverdale. We've got a truck coming in over the weekend from Howick. This is a big family, Fire and Emergency New Zealand. So we just want to assure everyone that the full support of our organisation is behind Fire Brigade and this community. So I'm here as well. Any questions you've got for me, please don't hesitate to come and say hello. Kia ora.
So I'd just like to acknowledge a couple of the people that Bruce as our local councillor and Noreen CF. We also have staff from TAS, which is the Temporary Accommodation Services. So I'll make ourselves available back there. If there is any questions around accommodation or any needs like that, please go and speak to the team over there. Just in regards to the regional park and welfare, the regional park is closed. We've put a notice on today that they'll be closing the beach. They'll close this equipment that's tomorrow morning. That's actually Wilson's Road because the access route down Bush Road is actually closed anyway. So, and the reason for that is to stop people coming out here and actually trying to keep people away. So that'll take place tomorrow, and we're extending that through to the 24th, and we'll review it as we go. If it needs a further extension, then we'll be looking at that. Access into Muriwai, the recording is up at the moment. We're working with police on how we maintain those, and for residents only. So there'll be signs going down to the Waimaku primary school, just saying beach closed, park closed, residents only. So those should be in place. If they're not in work tonight, they'll be tomorrow.
Just like to say, mate, it's one of the things within the community that we're obviously all aware of is the potential for rooters. Okay? We've got a hell of a lot of people in the land, we've got a hell of a lot of red stickers, and as soon as the law's gone from the top of the road she's no longer forgotten knowledge. Like, we're talking young people here that have been here for a long time, a lot of shit in their houses, and they can't get to. You guys can put those ways, make sure that no one's coming through that blockade that does not live here.
Yeah, and I agree. We are working with the police on that, so, the security of those properties, is paramount. So we're working, and we are working with New Zealand Police and New Zealand Defence as well to provide that security. So, we have as Ian mentioned, we have an information hub down at Muriwai, the ranger station, sorry. So we have some of Ian's team and we have some wealthy people there as well. So if there's any information you need, feel free to go down there and hopefully they can assist you. We have a tanker down at sand dunes for fresh water, and we're trying to get some clarity on how we can get the water up and running back to the water. From the conversations I've had with water here, the damage is quite extensive, but they're working on trying to put a temporary solution in so we can get those services up and running. Similar to, I can't give you any time frame, so we're continually having those discussions with water here. As soon as we get some clarity, it'll definitely come out. Power as well, I was chasing around the power suppliers today, this afternoon, still haven't got an answer on power. I know that they are starting to get power. What I'm up in Cable Road, that's still out, and I imagine they're working their way through, but we're trying to get that done as soon as we can. So that's kind of the services stuff. We are looking at a welfare hub as such, probably looking at the, I think some of the recommendations from the committee were to use the golf course as a temporary, and then transitioning down to the surf club. There's some challenges with the surf club, so we're just trying to work out how to do that access. We're going to work on trying to get that up and running probably the next couple of days, so we'll have places you can go shower and other facilities.
So there's rain for the past following week, we thinking that's gonna make it come out.
Yeah, so the question was about rain forecast in future weeks. It really depends very much on the intensity of the rain. It will take quite a lot of rain to have a significant effect on the slopes. Well, agreed. It was quite different. It's almost impossible to predict. Landslide prediction is not a black art, it doesn't even exist. It's something that we are working on a regional scale, but it's not something that can be effectively done for individual landslides like this, not this type. However, experience around the region does show that the sort of rainfall that has been forecast is unlikely to have any significant effect. What it will do is cause erosion of all the loose material that exists, so you'll probably see lots of silt down the streets, lots of dirt, but it's unlikely to be significant landslides. Key, though, is that this is all be taken into account in the placarding process. So the placarding process isn't looking just at the risk now, but at the risk in the near future. And if we think, the geotechnical engineers who've been around think that there is a risk to those properties, if there's rain in the future, that'll be reflected with the placard. And the sort of time it takes to go through a recovery process, which is months up to a year. And I can understand that. There's going to be a lot of work going into assessing these slopes over the coming weeks and months to make sure that you're kept safe. We've already had drone flights going over, creating 3D models of it that can then be used to model the slope stability. On Saturday, we're having a helicopter with a LiDAR kit coming over to create a more advanced 3D model, and that's going to feed into a really detailed risk assessment. So this rapid building assessment process is just the first step in assessing the risk. And that red placarding, yellow placarding process is reflecting how we see the risk, but we're going to learn more, and we're going to learn more quickly over the coming weeks and months.
keeping what's there, and putting money in it. We've got it.
No decisions have been made. No, it's too early to get there. We're still trying to get through.
Okay, at those sorts of things. Yeah.
We've got to collect all the data we need to inform those decisions first, and we've got to do it in a way that keeps people safe. So first of all, it's about your safety and the safety of the people working in town. After that, we're going to use all that information to go on to those next steps.